And if you can sort of focus on the Medusa, once you get 4 stacks of the Curse of Avernus off, you get a nice silence to prevent the Medusa from casting that Mystic Snake over and over again. And because of the itemization of Medusas into the Ags, it does take a while for defensive items to come through. We don't tend to see the Manta prioritized. We don't tend to see any defensive item really prioritized for the sake of the Ags. So there's some way of the Abaddon kind of getting that work done along with the Snap to melt through. You just need some really solid cores to follow up here. Like the Void Spirit's nice to jump into the back. You still have some of that control issues we were seeing a bit from Felt in game 1, where if Stampede flew out at the right time, Felt didn't really have the best of hold, and that's still kind of coming out here. Wind and Rain go into the Rubik. They've got a lot of good spells to steal from the Snapfire, even from the Abaddon as well. Having the shield on their end is going to be good. And if you think about the lanes, Centaur Rubik lane now coming through. So you've got the lift into Hoofstomp, very strong lane, very annoying with Fade Bolt flying through as well. So Felt under pause 1, they might not have the smoothest time there to just focus on the last hits.
I wonder what they kind of draft here in that carry role for Felt. Like, into the Centaur and the Rubik, it is quite rough. They are going to go into the Terrorblade, so that's how they're going to try and deal with this. I mean, it is a very high armor kind of hero. Obviously, there is still a lot of magic damage on the side of Wind and Rain, and that lane of Centaur Rubik is still going to be a big problem for this TB, especially early on. I suppose along with the Abaddon, though, you might just feel safe having that Aphotic Shield to kind of purge off the stun and being able to just kind of run away. Do you like the TB into the Medusa, though? Do you think that's the answer?
It can be an answer. I think it has some ways of dealing with Medusa. Medusa in the end is a physical core, so you've got a lot of base armor that scales really well because of your agi gain. Terrorblade's going to be hard to rip through for the Medusa specifically. You don't care too much for the Ancient Apparition, as Sunder is direct health swap. It doesn't count as health gain, so the Terrorblade's still going to be able to live through an Ice Blast as long as he times his Sunder well. For the side of Wind and Rain, what they need to do is play really fast. The Terrorblade is very bullyable early on, so the lane with Centaur Rubik, every single time Metamorphosis is down, you have to make a move in TB. Felt for their part. I'm curious to see what Tay opts for in itemization, whether or not he just goes for the standard Manta, maybe a Dragon Lance, then opt for BKB. Should still be workable Terrorblade. You don't really have mana melting capabilities, but you do a lot of damage just because of how your stat gains like and because of Metamorphosis. So I think there is still a good chance you can jump onto the Dusa here. There's more importance on Felt's closer. Like what they go for on the off lane is going to dictate how much they can pump into the Dusa to prevent that flash form and to prevent that buildup into Yag. So I have to see what options will be left there for Felt. Wind and Rain already banned out the Slaughter, which would have been pretty nice in terms of just getting some early aggression off. You still have the... Well, no, you don't have the option for the Axe, and they also take out the Tide Hunter. So you don't have those big teamfight combos with the Snap. Felt, we're going to have to see if they can pull something magical in that offlane here.
What about the Razor, though? Why not just take the Razor for yourself and just do the same thing that they did to you last game? Except you kind of just make it work, right? As long as you static link the Medusa, everything should go alright. Mind you, that does kind of leave you without stuns on the side of Felt. Like, you're kind of stuck with just Cookie and Aether Remnant. So it could be a bit rough in that way, but you are just basically relying on... In fact, never mind, they'll go for the Brewmaster. I was going to say you're basically just relying on this Terrorblade being able to sit back and hit people throughout the Metamorphosis, so it wouldn't really matter too much. But I suppose with the Brewmaster now, it's kind of nice, because in the middle of a team fight, you could just kind of cyclone up the Medusa and just ignore her the whole time while you take out everyone else. Wind and Rain, though, they're going to go into an Ember pickup, which does feel quite nice into the Terrorblade. And of course, even the Void Spirit being able to lock him down with the chains. And even in the laning stage, the Ember does generally have quite a large advantage. But overall, John, both drafts are finished. Who do you think came on top for this game number 2?
Wind and Rain have the Centaur Medusa combo. I think in terms of that, their draft is definitely looking a bit stronger. I'd still lean towards Felt just because of how they've been playing. I think the Brewmaster is one of the best counters to the Dusa. Just cycling her up, as you mentioned. Even if she can't really spam the Mystic Sneak. Like, she can maybe get one off and stun you up for a bit. But if she's stuck in the air, it's not going to be flying out every 12 seconds there. And that just means there's lots of nuisance. You can focus on everyone else. You can stop someone from running away from Stampede, which is really the one big issue if you went for Razor. Like, yeah, you've got Static Link on Dusa. They've got the Centaur. So it's not like cut and dry there that you just sap away at Dusa. She can still run away really nicely, and you're not really able to keep the pace up unless you go for the Travels, Yasha, Falcon Blade kind of build early on. So I think Felt have managed to counteract the Dusa here in a very nice way. Win and Rain, it is a bit more straightforward for them in this game. Like, they can play the farm game. They can just try to buy out space for Cassius C to build up in the Dusa to meet that Ag's timing. And of course, the Ember versus Void Spirit lane, we've seen that be favored more towards the Ember Spirit as well, simply because of itemization. Like, you can play much better with Orb of Corrosion, Phase Boots, and you just kind of take over from there. So it's an earlier power spike for the Ember to play around, whereas for Void Spirit, it doesn't feel as good. You tend to look for Orchid, you tend to look for Ags, slower buildups on that initial itemization. So in that sense, Ember should have a good time. I'll still lean towards Felt, but there are keys there from Win and Rain to find their own win, and the win condition is very clear-cut this time for Win and Rain.
It certainly is, John. We'll see how it all does pan out as we do get into game number 2. Between the side of Felt and Wind and Rain, and of course Felt just one game away from being able to force those tiebreakers. Wind and Rain, a lot of pressure on them to try and pull off this victory and get themselves on the board and maybe force us to a game number 3. I certainly agree with the sentiment you had, John. Their draft just looks a lot better this time than it did last game. Just a matter of kind of executing it and making it work. Because just because you have the Medusa doesn't mean you can really just guaranteed win the game. It has lost quite a bit over the past couple days in different regions altogether, but you still have to be pretty careful. You still need that farm up ASAP, and you're going to need a lot of space here from the rest of your team. See if they can get it, or whether Felt are just going to kind of run them down. Big factor, of course, also being you want to just protect that mid-tier 1 tower. Make sure that doesn't go down, and Cassius C should have a pretty decent time on the Medusa, but you've got Abaddon, you've got Terrorblade. You can run down this tower if you want, even with the Snapfire with the minus armor with the little Shredder. I'm curious to see if they ever do make that rotation with Tay to try and get that mid-tier 1 early on. Suppose we'll have to wait and see. As the bounties do spawn up, it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade though. Nothing too special happening.
Yeah, just even start for both sides. You do see the supports kind of sticking around. No D-wards coming through, so you will have decent rune control coming out from each side this time around. You see the lanes break out. You've got Sword in the bot lane on the Centaur. He does have Sabo around on the Rubik, so it's that Rubik Centaur lane, lift into Hoof Stomp. You can kind of build up your aggression once you do get the levels up. I think the big spike is going to be level 3 there. Once you've got 2 points in double edge, you can try to pressure out that Terrorblade with the magic damage you have on hand. You will always have to watch Koya Niskatsi. Like, with the Aphotic Shield, he is just going to look to trade. He doesn't care too much about his own life. And as long as Metamorphosis is up, Tay's damage is ridiculous. So you will kind of have to space yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be the one struggle for Sword, of course, is when the meta has been popped. Does have to be a lot more cautious about his own positioning. Because we'll have a look at the other lanes as well. Mid lane, Yellow Flash going to be up against Kids once again. The Ember should have the advantage here. Definitely an Ember-favored lane up against the Void Spirit. And it is a lot to do with the chains and the Flame Guard, just being able to lock him down. And obviously with the Flame Guard, there's no way for Yellow Flash to block out that magic damage that is provided. And he's going to have to get through it somehow. And unfortunately, a lot of his damage is also magic. So it is a bit unfavorable here. But Yellow Flash has proven to be very effective no matter what hero he's playing. So I'm very curious to see if he can make it work this game number 2. I think he should still be okay as long as he just focuses on CS rather than trying to deal with Kits himself.
Yeah, as long as you focus on hitting your level 6, level 7 spike. You look at side lane rotations to build up. It's one way, although Justice.
You've just achieved first
Had to look
blood.
away for a second there, but
Have
Justice
fun.
does indeed end up going down. Didn't think he was actually in range for that right click, but it looks like Y was able to get it off on the AA. And well, while we're here, John, of course, Cassius and Y are going to be up against Zor for now. Justice should be back at any moment, but it's certainly not the easiest of lanes for Zor either on this Brewmaster. Yeah, there is a lot of damage you can take from this AA Medusa lane. Zor will probably have to do a very similar thing to his other laners, which is basically just secure farm. And make sure you don't get caught out with your pants down up against this this AA Medusa. Just have to be a little bit cautious.
Definitely. It's not a fun time for the Brew. It's a dual range lane up against a melee hero. You can pump out a lot of aggression. The spacing coming out from Y is just really good here. And he starts out with a Blightstone to keep the aggression up. So you've got the Blightstone and Justice, but you've got this insane range from Y to keep applying this debuff. And it does make it slightly annoying for Zor. Already forced to pop himself. He does have a bottle up, though. So that's the point where the Brewmaster can just keep playing with the Thunderclap, clear out the wave, and kind of sustain himself there. As long as Justice has some decent rune control, you're going to be pretty fine. So you're hitting a pretty nice stride here on the Brewmaster regardless. You're not really slowing down the Medusa in any big way. You don't have to worry about the timings Cassius he can meet from just having a fairly free lane.
Gets having a very good time in that mid lane right now in the Ember, but impressively enough, Yellow Flash not really struggling too much either. Right behind him, just by 1 CS. Definitely a pretty decent time for both sides. Bottom lane has been a little bit rough for Sword, but he's doing just fine. Thing is, you can't really slow down Tay either on the Terrorblade. So this Rubik Centaur lane, while it is meant to be a pretty strong duo, hasn't really produced much as of yet. Even if you get that lift into the hoof stomp, it's still probably not going to be enough to get through the Terrorblade's HP pool. As long as Kiona Skutsy's around on the Abaddon, you definitely should not be able to get this kill. Maybe once the Ember does start rotating, you could make the argument they'd be able to get through the HP, but before that... Did I do... Oh my goodness. Alright, well there you go. Apparently they can. Kiona Skutsy. Where was he, John? Where was the Aphonic Shield?
He was trying to get a pull, which was costly. But he's gonna look, but you're not happy about losing your Terrorblade. A very big kill for Wind and Rain. Already a good start for them, as they are getting that aggression off. And Koya Niskatsi, you know, we've been seeing him type out some poetry. Maybe it's time to reel that in to save your core, or at least give your own life if you want to keep typing your poetry out. You know, throw your body out so you've got the time to type it out.
I said all that and he dies basically 1 second after. How unfortunate. I should really stop making these very long discussions about carry plays. It happens every time. Classic curse. Still, definitely great news for Wind and Rain, though, being able to pick up that kill. As you can tell, John, I wasn't quite expecting it to happen, but there you go. You know, Skutsy, now you can tell he's a bit more on edge, just making sure he's always by Tay to have that Aphonic Shield as top lane. Zor will go down this time around. Y to pick up another kill on the AA. Looks like Justice was not there to help out. He was trying to secure a rune for himself. That bottle of the Brewmaster. He might not even get that though. Y's shown up now at that rune spot. And in fact, it's not going to spawn top anyway. Now Justice has been left alone. He'll try to go into the Roshan pit and set himself up for a cookie out, but Kits reads the movement. He's going to be able to eventually just chase down the Snapfire and does get the kill. And that's going to mean a 0-4 already for the side of Wind and Rain. Felt unable to find a kill so far in this map.
Yeah, that's worrying. They've got a really good start from Wind and Rain. They're playing with their aggression. They're hitting these timings now on the Ember. Phase Boot's almost done. So that's going to be a really quick timing on the boots. That means your right click with the Sleight of Fist is just that much stronger, especially if you pile that on with an Ultra Corrosion. It's going to be a lot of damage output that we need to worry about. And they just keep finding these kills.
Yeah, bot lane Koyana now getting caught out on the Abaddon. It'll be the 5th kill of the game. And a 2k net worth advantage for Wind and Rain. It's such bad news for Feld. Falling behind like this. And of course you're going to have plenty of time to try and catch up, but you didn't want to give this kind of lead over against the Medusa draft. You want to be the ones pressing the advantage. Fortunately, that advantage is going to be non-existent for Feld.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need to get to recovery farm on Tay. You're going to have to wait for Yellow Flash to get his first item up. It looks like he is rushing travels this game. And you need to start thinking about when you can jump onto Cassiopeia. Like, ideally, you kill off the Medusa twice in lane. Once or twice with a mid-rotation out, but with Yellow Flash not able to get that rotation off, it just doesn't feel great. Like, you're seeing the same thing happen that Wind and Rain allowed to happen in Game 1. Now Kits, at level 8 in the Ember, is looking for opportunities with a phase boots up.
In they go. He's going to remnant back. Let's go after Justice instead. Get that power rune maybe. It's going to be top. Yellow Flash does manage to pick it up. It is going to be a nice DD. Now Kid's getting very deep, trying to go for this kill, but he's going to be somewhat cautious here. He gets caught out by that 8th Remnant. It could be disastrous, but instead, he will be the one doing the chasing as Yellow Flash does not even have 8th Remnant up right now. Has no way to lock down the Ember. With that, that'll be the 6th kill of the game now for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, they're really just finding everything. I think for Felt, they're going to need some levels up, especially on, I think Zora's where really trim, but Zora
gonna die again. This Brewmaster off lane, we don't see it a lot for a reason, I suppose, is mid lane. Sabo does drop, and that'll be the first kill of the game for Felt. Definitely good news here for this Radiant side, as they needed something to go their way. But now Kits is going to find Justice. Doesn't get the chains though. Oh well, Justice is going to be fine in that case. It's like Yellow Flash was coming in anyway, so I guess you had to be careful if you're the Ember. Just fine to make his way out.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill to miss out on. You're still at a heavy 6 kill lead, and ooh.
Yeah, Koyana again getting caught out on the Abaddon. Just proving to not be difficult whatsoever now for Wind and Rain. Can even start working towards that tier 1 bottom tower as Tay. He's just left the lane. He's had enough. He has not CS'd that well, I suppose, as Stampede's going to be popped. They wanted to try and maybe save Y there at the top lane, but he is still going to get caught by Zor. End up dropping the Brewmaster, excuse me, rather the Ancient Apparition is now Sword. He's going to get caught. Nice 8th Remnant in from Yellow Flash, and the Sword gets a hoof stomp off. He's going to try and make a run for it, but Yellow Flash is going to chase him down and eventually should be able to secure the kill. Sword going to try and juke out. He's going to die though.
The life of constant battle like this.
It's a important kill for Yellow Flash, finally getting some activity on the map, and his power spike in Zora is pretty big. See Kits just finding a steady kill down mid. This Ember's way too big. Orb of Corrosion up, phase boots along with it. A level 3 Sleight of Fist, that means every single right click you're getting with that Orb of Corrosion is just ridiculous. So you have to watch your spacing against the Ember, and if Kits is allowed to run around like this, Tay's not going to be feeling very safe here.
Hey, Ice Blast gonna fly in. Kid sees the Ice Blast landing and would love a kill. Remnant's out, but a nice Aphotic Shield will block out all the damage. Definitely a great attempt there by Kits, but Tay is barely gonna be able to survive with his life intact. Koyana had not landed that shield in time, it would have been a guaranteed kill onto Tay.
It's a small win for Felt. It's still a bit of a struggle for Tay, and you're reaching the point where Cassiopeia is just free farming the jungle now. So your Medusa's out at an insane lead, is working towards the Manta, got ways to protect him though.
Stampede away. Ice Blast. Uh-oh, Yellow Flash. Oh, he's gonna run right into it. That's a very nice Ice Blast out from Y. Just predicting the movement of Yellow Flash and finding out he was exactly on target.
Big kill for Wind and Rain. 5k lead now on the back of all of these kills, 3 to 10. And
Zor.
they're just getting free farm while this happens.
Another kill out. Zor, he's having a really tough game. 1-3-0 on the Brewmaster right now. You compare that to Sword, it's 2-1-4. For the Brewmaster, again, we don't get to see it very often, and for now, it does not look amazing.
It needs some more time to build up. You need the Ags to be up for the charges on the Primal Split. And that's going to take some time. Brewmaster doesn't flash farm well. They're going to try to defend the bot, though.
Yellow Flash not going to land the Aether Remnant. It's still going to try and chase down Sword, but they have no way to cancel the TP. And now Yellow Flash may get caught out. Kids has got the chains down with the Ice Blast. They will get rid of him again. This is Kiana Skutsi. He stuck around to deny off that bottom tier 1 tower, but it's probably going to cost him his life in the end. The borrowed time might be just enough, but Kids has level 1 chains up and will be able to land them. Kiana Skutsi eventually will fall. Kids just goes all the way for it. 3 to 13 now, but more importantly, a 6k net worth lead for Wind and Rain. And all the space in the world for this Medusa. Zor is trying to protect that mid-tier 1 tower, but it is not going to work out for them. They will still lose it. It just gets worse and worse as time goes on here for the side of Team Felt.
Yeah, they're not finding the openings they want. They're not able to leverage this power spike from Yellow Flash. And because he rushes for the travels, he doesn't have much more defensive capability on himself or offensive capability with the Yules that you'd have at this point. This just means with the travels he can clear out waves. You're going to have to play with that farm, play with the split push, deep push waves, keep trying to stall out for these item spikes on your Terrorblade and on your Brewmaster. But you're giving so much away to Cassius C. The Manta Styles flying in, Ags to follow for the Dusa, and after that point, you just don't have enough. You want your Terrorblade to be more farmed than this. It looks like you will at least match that with the SNY, but that's all you'll have. You need so much more to really get that working.
They get Sabo at that top lane, so they get a kill for their trouble at least. This difficult scenario, but now Kids is going to rotate and spots out the Void Spirit. Yellow Flash with the Aphotic Shield might be able to kind of just run away, but Sword is now here. Doesn't have the Stampede, doesn't have the Blink up yet, so now they'll try to turn. Zor rushing forward onto Kids, but with that Haste Rune, he's going to be able to just kind of kite out. So obviously not going for that the pop on the Primal Split. Instead on the backside, they'll go after Y. Y, slowly but surely, is going to burn to Zor. Maybe now they could go for a bit more. Kits, he's still around. He does have remnants. Looks like Zor's going to be the only one who's stuck around in the Brewmaster. And he's still going as if he's got a team behind him, but he does not have one. Now they're making their way up as he does go for the stun out. Kiana Scuts is going to try and cut in here, but they need a bit more than the Abaddon, I think. They'll keep going. Kits is just holding onto the Remnant, waiting for the right moment. They'll turn instead onto Sword, but Zor is now way out of position, and they will turn with their own Primal Split. He's going to try and make a run for it. A Phonic Shield out to try and help, but it is not going to work. Now Sabo will go for a bit more onto Kiana Scutty. They'll get the Tornado off. And eventually, he will come down. Just lock him down long enough. Kiana Scutty, he will die. That was a very kind of wishful attempt there from Zor and the Brewmaster. Again, without his team, there's no way in hell you were killing that Ember.
Yeah, I don't understand why he'd committed. I think at that point you could have just backed off. He does buy some space by dragging the entire team of Wind and Rain there, but that just allows Wind and Rain to invade the triangle, build up the farm and Cassius C. Still no answers for the Dusa yet. You are kind of keeping up on the Terrorblade. So the Sanj is going to be coming out soon for Tate to finish up with Sanj and Yasha. Stat versus really important though.
Again? What was that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he didn't expect the forward ward, but the entire team was there. He died in the top just moments ago, so he's going to respawn again, although.
They almost kill off Tay on the TB, Kids. Almost there, but not quite. Still having a look around. Meanwhile, bottom side, Yellow Flash is going to find Sabo. Doesn't really want to deal with him right now. Yellow Flash, Aether Remnant, not going to lock on. He does manage to TP out. Back to the mid lane. Chase is on for Cassius C. They have nothing to lock him down, though.
Yeah, it's get worrisome. 9k lead for Wind and Rain. They're controlling the map and shrinking the farming areas for Felt. Felt, they're still not reaching these item spikes they need. Yellow Flash is still just stuck on Travels plus a Staff of Wizardry. So he's still looking for perhaps a Yulet's build up here. Our Brewmaster's still stuck with just a point booster. You need the Axe to be up and running.
Oh, they've caught out the Void Spirit again. Yellow Flash, he will try to juke out. The Aquatic Shield keep him alive, but not for long. Sword, he will be able to get the double edge off. Mortimer's Kisses are going to fly in, but they won't even reach Sword anymore. It won't matter though. Zor able to secure the kill on the Brewmaster. Gets something for his team, but now Kids is back in on the Ember with a full reset. He wants another kill, but it looks like he's not going to be able to get one. Still, you've bought so much time. The Cassius C, just 750 gold off now, that Aghanim Scepter. The 9k net worth lead for the side of the Dire. It's going to be very hard to lose this game if you're Wind and Rain. You see the chase onto Kits, that's a nice cookie out, but it's probably not going to be enough. It's again, we'll just Remnant away, and still proving to be a real nuisance toward the side of Team Feld, who just have hardly any ways to lock them down long enough to get a kill.
Yeah, it's tough. I think they'd want to get a big pick off, but just the lack of control is making that very difficult.
Well, they'll just ignore Kids instead and go after Y, but the Ice Blast again does end up landing on Yellow Flash, and Kids wants to keep going. Zor's going to try and make him back off, but Kiana's Guts, he's already dead. Justice about to drop, does survive. Now the meta pop. Tay wants to try and fight with this, but look at the damage output. He will die instantly. Zor, he primal splits now, but it's all too late. He can't really do much. Tay, it's gonna be alright.
Look at Sabo.
Zor, he's still running. Sabo with his mini TP is gonna try and help out here. The Sunder is there in time. Tay, it's not gonna matter. Cassius C still gonna chase him down. Kits is there. Chains not gonna land though. They missed the chains on that one. Mortimer's Kisses to fly out. Sword is in with a double edge and does get another. Sunder even stolen by Sabo. And that'll be another team fight victory here for the side of Wind and Rain.
Yeah, I mean, they just play really well. They've got the Ags up in Medusa. Sabo just steals all the big spells he needs to in the middle of these fights. And that's him without a blink. He's going to have his blink up relatively soon. Felt, they keep trying to force fights out while their Terrorblades just underfarmed. They need to play a stall game, as unintuitive as that sounds against Medusa. They just need more time to get Tay up and running. But you're playing against the Ags Dusa now. Honestly, I don't know if you're going to be able to find that catch-up farm. There's so much more that needs to come out for Tay. There's so much more that needs to come out for Zor. Once you have the Ags up on the room, maybe having back-to-back splits will help your cause, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough.
Sabo really playing around here with Yellow Flash. Gives Yellow Flash the tip. Mid lane, Sword also playing around with the side of Team Feld. Is not going to get punished for it. Meanwhile, the rest of his team are just taking that bot tier 2 tower casually. Nobody around to try and defend that. It's going to be a free tier 2 there for Wind and Rain. I suppose they didn't really have much of an option. It'd be pretty hard to expect defense anyway. Especially with that Ags up on the Dusa. Team Felt, they're just going to try and bide their time, get some more farm up on Tay. Does at least have the Dragonlance up now, and even finds himself a nice little Imclaw onto the TB. Just constantly going to be watching his back. A Sword now is roaming through the triangle with a double stun out. It's not going to matter. There's no follow-up. Scottsy's still going to be forced to pop that borrowed time. While Cassius C is just casually taking the mid-tier 2 now. Sabo. Slipped up. They found a nice target in the Brewmaster. They will get rid of him. No primal split available now. Sabo just going to try and back off away from Yellow Flash. Stampede popped. They want to go after Kiona Scanti, it seems like. Meanwhile, on the backside, Sabo is still chasing Yellow Flash. They will spot him out, but they don't have the lockdown yet. Chains out already being committed. Tay going to join with his team. They got rid of Sword on the Centaur. They might just find Sabo here on the Rubik. That'll be a secondary kill. So all things being said and done, not too bad of a team fight for Feld. They lost the Brewmaster straight off the bat, but they still get 2 for their trouble. You'd have to call that a bit of a win now for the Radiant.
Yeah, they managed to slow down the pace just a bit from Wind and Rain. They lose out the fight. They don't really manage to go into the tier 2. Medusa did show up for a bit, but it feels like Cassidy just wants to finish up this butterfly before fully committing. Once you've got that little bit of evasion, more damage flying through, it's going to be hard to really deal with Medusa in any way. And they are just kind of working the map still. Felt with that kind of opening, should be able to build up at least one more item on Tay soon. Very important for the Terrorblade to be able to have a bit of an item spike. They might catch out Koya Niskatsu or someone else here though.
They may, but he's going to be able to run away from Sword. Zor is around along with the rest of the team. They might try to go in. Let's get the slam off. But Sword is going to go for the hoof stomp straight away in Zor. He's going to be protected with the Aphotic Shield, but perhaps not for long. He'll go for the Primal Split instead, but look at the damage. Already 2 of his Brewlings are gone. They will try to chase down the last one. He does manage to get it out. And that's a real point of concern when the Medusa just kind of deletes all your Brewlings. Now onto Yellow Flash. They found the Void Spirit. They get the chains down. They get the stone off. And they kill him off. Zor is going to try and run out of range of the side of Wind and Rain. He's going to be able to... I'm sure they'd rather not have to force Yellow Flash to buy back, but they may have no choice in the matter right now as the tier 3 is going to be under siege. Kiona Scanti already forced to pop that borrowed time. Ice Blast going to follow through. It won't land. They still found Justice though. Snapfire now dropping. Team felt they are not committing the buybacks. They look like they're going to have to let that first Rax go down the mid lane.
They do have a bit of a spike here. Ags is up on Zor. Ideally, you'd want your... Well, you really need your level 20 talent, because you saw how fast those Brewlings died, but you do have more presence with more uptime and a split. They just need to be able to maximize that. Mid-Rax does fall. No real defense, although Cassius.
They want to fight. They want to try and punish here, but they might just turn. Wind and Rain, they are still very strong. They didn't really commit anything. Onto Kiona Scanti, or rather the Brewmaster. They'll try and take down Zor, but he has the Primal Split. And pop it straight away. Back in onto Cassius C. They will tornado him up. But where's the help for Zor? He's running in by himself right now. The rest of the team, they're not there. You've still got the kisses available. Sabo, he's going to jump in, but does get deleted. But they get the Brewmaster. Onto Sword. He's dropping quite low. There's your Stampede being popped now to try and back off. Of course, Cassius C just so confidently moving in, does find another 2 for his trouble.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
Onto the bot tier 3 tower they go.
It took a long time for Tay to join in. I think Tay needed to be in that fight if they wanted to find a follow-up. And, well, the rest of his team is just kind of dead right now, so they're going to have to play this defense by themselves. The reflection spam is annoying. It just doesn't have that great of an uptime, so you're going to have to play it a bit safe. Bot side of Rax does look set to fall, but they will have the split in the Brewmaster once he respawns.
It's going to be a secondary Rax now for Wind and Rain. Things becoming a lot harder for the side of Team Felt. Luckily for them, they still have that top tier 2 tower to kind of protect that final lane of barracks. So if they did not, Wind and Rain may have just gone for it. But instead, Wind and Rain, they might just go for the next Roshan attempt. It is up. And they've got a decent Roshing lineup. Like, you can't really fight into this this draft in the Roshan pit with the Stone Gaze up. You can make the argument you have Mortimer's Kisses in the Roshan pit, but it has not proven to be anywhere near enough damage.
They will
They're gonna try though.
They get the smoke. They get the scan off as well. I think if you can land the kisses plus a good reflection, that could be enough damage.
There's your reflection out. Stampede gonna be popped. Now your kiss is being committed. They've caught out Sabo. And he is gonna drop. Stone Gaze already popped. Maybe now after the Stone Gaze they could try. Yellow Flash, he went a bit too far in. He's gonna buy back. They're gonna fight for this Roshan. It's getting quite low. Remnant in kits. He does steal it away. He gets it off Tay. He takes down the Terror Blade. Onto more now. Yellow Flash is gonna try and at least get rid of the Aegis. But it's gonna be no good. Kits is out of there. And they will turn with the chains out. They have found justice on the Snapfire. Zor even being caught out of the Brewmaster. He's still trying to kill off Wide. Actually does get the AA down. Sword gonna move in. Kuyana Skunsi is gonna drop. KCC does get it. Zor now eventually does get caught by the chains, and he has the primal split, does get it off in time, but they call the GG. They have had enough. I've got to tell you this, John, this game was looking quite impossible. And, of course, Wind and Rain, they make the Medusa draft work for themselves this time.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Felt did not ban it. Like, they start with Centaur and AA on the side of Wind and Rain, and they just leave the Dusa. Like, again, just allowing someone to pick it up when they didn't have first pick in the second phase just felt really awkward, and felt, you know, they kind of tried to go with this response with Terrorblade to try to rip through the mana, Zor to try to isolate the Dusa on the Brewmaster. They couldn't hit these really nice farming and item spikes. They wanted. The lanes just felt way too weak. The Brewmaster just got bullied out by two ranged heroes, and there wasn't much Justice could do. So I think they've got to go back, look at their draft, correct some mistakes. They had this Void Spirit versus Ember matchups as well, because they prioritized Void Spirit when it feels like we've seen the Void Spirit disappear for the most part from the pro meta for very good reason. Its power spikes feel really awkward. Like, right, the lane against Ember kind of is, it's okay. Yellow Flash had a good time considering that.
Yeah.
But then once Ember hit Phase Boots and Orb of Corrosion, that was it. Like, you don't have anything in response as a Void Spirit to play with. You can maybe rush a Yules. That's still a little bit more farm you need compared to Phase Boots, Orb of Corrosion, at least in terms of these small items building up. And we actually saw Yellow Flash rush the Travels, which meant he could be all over the map, but he didn't have damage or control, and I think Felt really have to repair their draft a bit. Wind and Rain, they stay in. They force a game number 3. So that does mean they've still got a shot to stay out of relegation. We'll see if Felt can bounce back in game 3 or if Wind and Rain kind of overcome.
We'll find out very soon, John. We are going to have a 10 to 15 minute break, but right after that break, we'll be back with game number 3's draft. We'll see you then.